Now we're ready to make the top of our piece. So we've already made the bottom piece and we let that sit on the mold and then we popped it off. And then now I'm going to make the top that's going to rest on top of that bottom piece. And that's why it's so important that bottom piece starts to get hard, because it's got to support the weight of this second one. So if you're at home, put saran wrap over that bowl again. If you're using the plaster mold like this, you just put the clay right over the top. So I'm going to take my slab here, and then I'm going to use my rib tool, just like I did before, and smooth this out. So I don't have that texture from the canvas, from the slab roller. So I've smoothed that out. And then I'm going to drape it, like the name says, over the mold. I'm going to push down. And then I'm going to smooth it out using my rib tool. Again, I can smooth things out. I'm going to take my fettling knife, trim this excess off once I've kind of pushed it down here. See how I'm kind of using my hands and pushing down? Take my fettling knife, trim off that extra stuff. Remember that extra stuff, can't leave it in a slab like this. Wedge it back up, because we're going to use that for some coils for our neck and to attach these two pieces together. So now I can go back with my rib tool, smooth this out really well. Okay, there's a little excess here. I'm going to trim that off. Okay, smoothing this out all the way around. And because this is going to be the top, we need to have an opening up here. So find something circular, like here's the top of the slip jar, which is a Gatorade. I can use it like a cookie cutter, push down. Okay, and then I can take my fettling knife, trim that, and then it should pop out. There we go. So I've got the top kind of piece. I can take my sponge and smooth this out just a little bit. So eventually this piece, when we pop it off, is going to go on top of that first piece that we did. And that's why that first piece, it's important that has a day to dry and you leave the bag slightly open, because it needs to be able to support the weight of this whole piece here. And if you don't let it get dry enough, the whole thing will collapse on you. So it's important to let that get dry enough. So now once I'm done smoothing this out, this one I'm gonna put in the bag and leave the bag slightly open, just like we did before. So I'm gonna grab my bag here. Put it in the bag, leave the bag slightly open so it can dry out. So then you don't want to leave it on the mold for 3-4 days. Because what happens to the clay when you leave it on the mold for 3 or 4 days, clay shrinks. And when clay shrinks, it's going to break because that mold under there, it can't break itself. So what's going to break is the clay. So you have to be time sensitive with this project. You have to be diligent. You go step by step, and it can't take 8 days to do this project. You need to keep it going. So if you're putting this on the mold and it's going to be the weekend, then I would shut the bag because you don't want it to crack like right here on the mold because it dries too much and it shrinks and it has to go somewhere, so it's going to crack. So keep that in mind.